Hi there. This is John Anthony Francis Wilcox, and today is Saturday, the 9th of March, 2024. Hope you're all doing well. So, before I get into anything, some birthdays. Yesterday was my friend Ari's birthday. Happy birthday, Ari. I believe it's Monday is Mark Sinnett's birthday. This coming Friday is my nephew Michael's birthday, and 2 days later on Sunday it's my nephew Patrick's birthday. So happy birthday to everyone. There we go. It's been mostly a work week for me. I've been doing a lot of transcription of interview stuff and got a few interesting things in, and that's been the majority of what's been happening. But I thought for a change of pace, I'd tell you an interesting story from my life working with musicians. So we're going to go back to the middle 2000s, probably toward the end of them, maybe 2007, 8, 9, 6, 7, 8, 9, somewhere around there. Um, the date's easy to find because I was going into New York City to do a meet and greet thing with Ian Gillan, who was going out with his own band in between Deep Purple gigs. So it was down in the village near a wonderful Polish restaurant I was recommended called Weselka's, and I went there and had some of the best pierogies of my life. But when I got to the event, which was for an Ian Gillan album called Gillan's Inn, I-N-N, like a place, an inn, they had it set up in an interesting way, which is you'd be at a table, a little table, and I was at one. I went to this with my friend Roz. So we were there, and what would happen is Ian Gillan would go table to table, and he'd give you like 10 or 15 minutes of his undivided attention. Talk to you about anything you wanted, whatever. Take pictures, sign autographs, everything. And he went from table to table doing that. So when he was at the table with Roz and I, we heard some funny stories. I brought out his autobiography, which he signed for me, and there was a picture of him backstage at a gig, naked, just wearing a strategic sock, as George Harrison's back there giving him a strange look because probably he's naked just wearing a sock. And he told me the story, and Roz, the story behind that. And he was a wonderful gentleman, which I already knew because I had interviewed him a few weeks before. What a guy. And he was going from table to table. And at one table, there were these two guys that were radio station winners that clearly, they won. You get to meet Ian Gillan. And they brought some records for him to sign and that. And he was there. They were at the table to my left. And he went and gave them the same amount of time he gave everyone, told them some stories, I'm sure, signed tons of stuff for them. And then went to another table. And what I noticed is they figured out he had to go from this to that, and they wanted to take up all his time. So anytime he got up from something, they'd go back over, I wanted to ask you one more thing, or could you sign one more thing? And they kept doing that, and they kept doing that. And Ian graciously did everything. And until it reached a point where his person there, his manager or whatever, who was there with him, noticed. And finally, when the guys went to do that, he stopped them and said, "You had your time," which they did. That's it. No more. The end. And I could hear them walk by and go, "What a jerk that Ian Gillan is." And it's like, no, Ian was gracious to you. What jerks you were. Now, I suppose I understand on the fanboy level that they thought, this is my only chance I'm going to ever get to meet Ian Gillan. so I want to squeeze every inch out of it. But it showed, what do I want to say, myopia, that they just didn't see that there are other people around that mattered too, and they didn't respect them. They didn't respect Ian or his time or his space. And I just found it sad. And it's sad that you know, it made a mark that now, almost 20 years later, I still think of that story when I think of that event. When what I should think about is how very gracious Ian Gillan was, because he was. He was. There's perfunctory nice, you know. I've met people that fit that bill many a time, that are press nice or whatever. But you could just see that Ian Gillan is just a down to earth, nice guy. He's a nice person, and he was so lovely to Roz and to me. And as I watched, he was to everyone, and he was very gracious. And I would say it's what I would call a cautionary tale, the tale of the fans that don't know when to stop. So anyway, that's a story for today. Um, that's really about all I got this week. I could show you stuff. Oh, look at this. Here's my Versace, my can of Versace Blue Jeans cologne. Um, but I think that's it for this time. I love you all. Be in touch. Stay in touch. Bye bye. Lamps.